Even if we don't have that naam, that bani, that bhakti, that maryada, all I have is prem, and all I want to do is love my Guru. That's what matters. That's step one. Jin prem kiyo tinhi prabh payo. On that journey of love, you find maryada and bhakti and all of the things that matter as well. Hearing music, regardless of what kind of music you guys listen to, it takes you away. If you're listening to some like hip hop or whatever, immediately you're feeling dangerous. If you're listening to classical music that's sad, all of a sudden you're feeling sad. These are all the rags. These are all the tunes of the world. And those tunes make you feel a certain way. Whether it's salsa or hip hop or rap or EDM or whatever it is, they're all designed to make you feel a certain way. And it's that door that music is coming through. Now, you flip that on its head and Maharaj gave us Rag Kirtan. Now all of a sudden you're using that door to connect to that experience of God. Now you're thinking about, how do I connect to Vaheguru? Oh, the Shabd is so beautiful. जिसमें है अमृत ज्ञान है माणक भगत विराग गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब उदद बंदो कर अनुराग एक अंकारा सतगुरु तह प्रसाद सच होए वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह है विघ्न विनाशन सोए कहाँ बुद्ध प्रभ तुच्छ हमारी बरन सके महिमा जो तिहारी हम ना सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सदारी हम ना सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कथा सदारी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। पिछली बारी we went over Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Jivan from making it from Sachkhand onto the Tarti. And as they make it to the Tarti, how their birth happens and how many Brahmgyanis and saints come to see them. What ends up happening is, one of the saints that comes, their name is Pikhan Shah. So Pikhan Shah comes to Guru Gobind Singh Ji's, or Gobind Rai as their name was at birth. They come to their birth, and when they get there, they immediately matha tek, they knock on the door and they ask to be let in. Now the respect that was given in the Guru's house towards any sadhus, sants, people of religion, people of love for God, was equivalent to how we nowadays respect politicians that walk into the Gurdwara, or the way we respect people that have money, even though they're not going to give us anything per se. We still treat them with so much respect as if they have the whole world in their hands. In that same way, how a jeweler respects a sanyara, this type of respect is shown. So obviously, everybody that is a Bhagat of Maharaj is let into the house. So when this happens, I think I want to make a side comment here, because someone last time was saying that they wanted these stories and sessions to be a little bit more relatable. So I think what I'm going to do this time is dive less into just the emotion of it and also the relatability into our lives. So oftentimes in where we live now, which is primarily like, in the West or in America, as this class is, UK, Canada, we don't get that same exposure to some of the cultural elements. The adab, the prem, satkar, respect, right? And so oftentimes when a Gursikh comes to your house, you want to give them that love. You want to give them that, walking them to the car, receiving them from the car, sitting them down at your house, giving them water, asking them how everything is going, speaking about the Guru. These are interactions between Gursikhs. So they tell Pikhan Shah Ji to come inside of the house. Pikhan Shah Ji takes the charan, and mind you, Gobind Rai has just come into being born. And the way Pikhan Shah knows to even come is, while he was in meditation, he felt that God themselves have come down onto earth. And he just followed that feeling up to the house of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And then he walked in. This is in Patna, Bihar. So in Patna Sahib, where Patna Sahib is today, is where Guru Gobind Rai Ji was quote unquote born. And Pikhan Shah Ji takes the charan of Gobind Rai and they put them to their matha. As soon as they put them to their matha, they feel this like feeling of ecstasy and love course through their entire body. They feel incredibly attached to Maharaj's charan. And immediately they think, who must this prophet have been sent for? Who is this guru? Who is this peer? Who is this pakambar that's come onto this earth, and who's he come for? So Pikan Shah Ji thinks in his mind. He goes, you know what? Has this peer come for the Hindus, or has he come for the Muslims? Who's he here to save? So what he does is he puts a bowl of milk and a bowl of water right at the charan of Guru Sahib. And as he puts the milk right at their charan, he says, if he kicks the milk, then he's a peer for the Muslims. If he kicks the water, then he's a peer for the Hindus. And let's see what he does. So what Gobind Rai Ji ends up doing, this Bala Pritam, Bala is a young boy, Pritam is someone that is very endearing and loving. What Bala Pritam Ji does is they kick both of the bowls, and both of the bowls mix into one each other. And what Pikan Shah Ji realizes, immediately he hears the Bani that represents the action that Guru Sahib just did. The Bani is, Re man aisi harsyon pritakar, jaisi jal dudh hoy, avtan ape khave, dudh ko khapan na de. They're saying, oh my mind, love God so much the way that water loves milk and the way that milk loves water. As soon as water and milk mix, the milk gives it its own identity. It gives it its own everything. And what the water does in turn is when it's boiled, when water and milk are boiled together, it is only the water that boils. It protects the milk. And so in this relationship, and that's what this Barney is saying, that the water added to the milk bears the heat on its own, preventing the milk from burning. This type of relationship is very similar to the relationship of the soul with God, with the Atma and Paramatma. And so Gobind Rai Ji gives this message to Pikan Shah that I'm not here for identity politics. I'm not here for one or the other. I'm here to create the pure, lassi varge, completely pure, completely clean, those that understand that relationship between milk and water. This message was taken by Pikan Shah Ji, and he realized that any time in this world that there is weight, that there is heaviness, there is evil, Paramatma, God on some level sends this Atma of themselves. Maharaj Sahapang ho jande ne. They come and they take a form themselves to do away with that evil, to increase the goodness in this world, to show the world that it's lost its way, that it needs to see which way is the right way. Pikan Shah Ji matha takes to Gobind Rai Ji, and they leave. Because they're much older, they don't realize that everything they understood from that milk and water goes on to transpire. But Pikan Shah Ji, because they're so old, they don't actually get to experience that themselves. That's why it seems that Maharaj showed them everything in that moment. The way the Khalsa comes to be, the way the Khalsa uproots the Mughal Empire, the way the Khalsa fights day in and day out, their bhakti, their prem, how they carry themselves, how they become one with God. All of these things, Gobind Rai Ji just showed through milk and water at only a couple days old. And this was one of the first Sakhis to come from their birth. So Bhai Vir Singh Ji then goes on, and they start to explain what is the goal of human life and how we can understand it. So this is where we have to first understand the philosophy so that we can understand the Sakhi. He explains, and this is a conversation between him and the moon, and he says to the moon, he goes, you might not be shining tonight, but there's still beauty all around. He says to the moon, he goes, sometimes it's not even looking at you that I feel that you're so beautiful. Sometimes I feel that chamak that you give off, that shine that you give off in the river pond, in the rivers, in the ponds. Sometimes I see them, how they hit a tree, and that beauty sends me into ecstasy. They say, what is this beauty? What kind of beauty am I talking about? They say this this beauty that I'm talking about is the type of beauty that makes you forget about your fears, that makes you forget about what's going on in your day. And I'm sure we've all experienced that, where we've seen a view or a something in front of us that shines so beautifully that we just go, wow, that's gorgeous. Look at this view. Look at the way that the wind is blowing. Look at the way that the sun is setting. Look at the way the moon is rising. And we just go, wow, that's incredible. And what Bhai Vir Singh Ji writes is, he goes, oh moon, what are you? He goes, you're just a rock. You don't have any beauty. But why do I think you're a goddess? Why do I think you're a Devi? And then he goes, it's that aura that you're shining. It's that aura that you have shining off of you that makes everything in this night so gorgeous. And what he's doing is he's drawing a narrative between our bodies and how we interact with others. That beauty inside, that aura, where does it come? Where does it shine from? It shines from the sun. The moon is just shining what Akal Purkh is sending towards it. Anything good about us that comes from this bhakti is just Paramatma shining. But we ourselves are just the body. When we really get into who am I? What am I? We realize I'm nothing. I'm just dirt. I'm just a body. This body, this mind, it is nothing. All that is Paramatma. And there's a theory, a discourse that goes over this called Jad and Chetan. Jad is like a root, something that can't talk back, something that doesn't have a mind of its own, something that can't think for its own. Chetan is something that is awake, something that is watching. So Chetanta is when one is awake, when one is mindful. So you have to ask yourself, what part of everything that's around me is God, and what part of everything that's around me is Jad? So what's awake and what's asleep? What is root? So you ask yourself, you ask your hand, say, hey, who are you? The hand doesn't answer. You go, oh, you must be Jad. You don't have an answer. Then you say, okay, it's the arm that holds you. Arm, who are you? And the arm doesn't answer again. So then you go, okay, fine. The body has to know. The face has to know. Who are you? Answer me. Oh, you can't. It's just moss. It's not real. It's just Jad. Okay, then you ask your mind. Who are you? As a viewer, you're watching, the watcher, one that watches. Who are you? And you realize, wait a minute, the mind doesn't even have an answer. It has a name, Simran, but what is Simran? Who is Har Simranjeet? Har Simranjeet, are you the hands? No, you can't be because you didn't answer. Are you the mind? Well, what is the mind? Is the mind understanding and processing? Or how does the mind function? Right? All of these, and you go, but then where is God in all of this? How does this work? So that brings us to the different avasthas, different levels of the mind. And I kind of mentioned this last week, and I feel it's a little important to mention it now so that we can kind of deeper dive into Bhai Vir Singh Ji's thinking. The mind goes through phases. Jagrat, Swapan, Sakopat, right? Jagrat is awake, awakeness. Swapan is dreaming. Sakopat is that deep dreaming where you don't even remember that you're dreaming. It's just everything was black. You have no idea what's going on. You wake up and you're like, I don't even remember falling asleep. Feels like I just went to sleep 5 minutes ago. Let's break it down a little more. That's the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Our bhakti, our answers for who am I? The answer is you are the Atma. Man, tu jyot swarup hai. Oh my mind, you are Paramatma. But for some reason, we can't see that. For some reason, it's hidden from us. And as it's hidden from us, we continue on this journey. Okay, consciously, how can I be present in Raam? Wow, Look at how the moon is shining, but it's not the moon. It's just reflecting the earth. Same way my thoughts and my love that I'm feeling for Rabb, same way that I'm experiencing this glory, all of it is just Paramatma. All of it is just God shining, Vaheguru shining. That's all it is. When I'm sitting in Darbar, in Sangat, and I'm feeling that ras, that anand, and I'm feeling so connected to you, who is you? You are that Anand. You are that beauty. You are that essence. And it's as if you allowed me to experience this beauty. You allowed me to see such phenomenons in life so that I can understand that when I feel you, how must I feel? The same way I stand over a mountainside peak watching a gorgeous sunset with the waves crashing, and it takes me away from my life's worries, my pains, and my own mind. In that way, can I experience you? When I am sitting down and I'm doing Nam Simran and I'm focused on just you, is that how I'm supposed to feel? These are little droplets of that's what that experience is. Well, that's what that means. Our body has these nau davar, these 9 doors that experience life with. Each one is metaphorically tied to the Atma. The smell of chandan, sandalwood, reminds us of the holiness, and that's what Guru Granth Sahib Ji says over and over again. The visual that I painted just moments ago makes you feel that anand. Hearing music, regardless of what kind of music you guys listen to, it takes you away. If you're listening to some like hip hop or whatever, immediately you're feeling dangerous. If you're listening to classical music that's sad, all of a sudden you're feeling sad. These are all the rags. These are all the tunes of the world. And those tunes make you feel a certain way. Whether it's salsa or hip hop or rap or EDM or whatever it is, they're all designed to make you feel a certain way. And it's that door that music is coming through. Now, you flip that on its head and Maharaj gave us Rag Kirtan. Now all of a sudden you're using that door to connect to that experience of God. Now you're thinking about, how do I connect to Vaheguru? Oh, the Shabd is so beautiful. There's a Shabd Maharaj says, Jete kat amrit sabhi meh pavet se piyai. And imagine that in Kirtan form. What Maharaj is saying is, there's so many hearts. There's so many people. And in each one of them, there's that amrit, that nectar of oneness in God. And as Maharaj blesses each of those individuals, they come to drink it. They come to recognize it. You can't recognize it on your own. Only a guru, one that takes you from dark to light. Gu means darkness, Ru means light. One that takes you from dark to light can make you experience what that is. Only a guru can show you, Man, tum, jot, sarup hai, apna mool pachan. My mind, you are that Paramatma. Understand that you have the jot of that Paramatma inside of you. You see how beautiful that is? That's Guru Sahib hand feeding us and showing us that our sensories are a way that we connect to Maharaj. But then what happens? Nagari eka naon darwaja tavat barj rahai. There's 9 gates in our body. 9 gates. 2 eyes, ears, you can count them yourself. There's 9 holes in which you experience life all around you. And the way that you use them will allow you to either experience or lose out on that experience. Now what happens is our habits, our hobbies, our day-to-day, our sangat will make us lose the ras of that Paramatma. We've all felt that, oh, I'm in sangat, I feel so amazing. I feel the embrace of my guru, this is amazing. And we go into our lives and there's so much coming into our conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind that it's constantly breaking us from that experience. Remember, you can use each of these doors. I'm saying this to myself, trust me, I'm the same. I fall, I get up. I fall, I get up. I'm with you. You experience so much that you go, I don't want to lose this. I was at a camp recently, Camp Pant. The amount of people I had going, bro, I don't want to lose this experience. This ras, this like flavor I'm feeling of God, I don't want to lose it. How do I hold on to it? I was like, yo, when you find out, let me know, right? And this is Guru Sahib instructing us, showing us how we hold on to it. We have to understand that consciously, what we put into our 9 gates is what we will dream about subconsciously. If what we're doing during the day is attaching ourselves to Vaheguru, to the Guru, and we're taking on more, whether we're scrolling Instagram, go scroll a Sikhi page, right? We're already addicted. I'm not going to tell you to put that phone down, right? But scroll through some Sikhi pages. If you're listening to music, throw on some kirtan. When I first learned this, Bhai Vir Singh Ji was teaching a class and he goes, there comes a moment where you just start relating a lot of things you see to the Guru. And I was like, how so? And there was like a fan behind one of the Singhs that was spinning. And he goes, just like I see that fan and I'm thinking, death is spinning right above our head, just like that, waiting for us at any moment. And I was like, wow. That's poetic, right? And so in the same way, Bhai Vir Singh Ji is looking at the moon. You see, they're using their conscious brain to take in all of this, to understand that Paramatma. And so as that experience is happening, the conscious, subconscious, I'll put them into the mala. The conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind all get stringed to one string. What is that one string? That one string is called samadhi. Samadhi is when everything becomes oneness. Vaheguru is what you see consciously. Vaheguru is what you dream about. Vaheguru is what is happening inside of you and through you, even when you're completely knocked out cold. You are one with Paramatma. And that is what Bhai Vir Singh Ji here is explaining. Even through this Gurbani Di Tok that they explain, the 9 gates, and through them we have to restrain our mind. Then they say, Trikuti Chutte, Dasma Dar Khulle, Ta Mane Khiva Pai. It's only when we're able to tie down our mind from running rancid, and this shabd goes quite deep, but I'll give a basic definition. It goes so deep into running around that you must contain it and focus it. Upon doing so, the 10th gate, the Dasma Davar opens, which allows you to continuously experience that Paramatma. Now, a lot of times when we go over these Sakhis, we go over this, we go, how can that happen? How is this possible? Like the Pekan Shah, him just having a visual and going and, I think you guys are reading too much into this milk and water thing, right? The truth is, when you experience the Guru, when you experience what we're talking about on a spiritual level, then you start to understand, these things are happening at a frequency, at a wavelength that's beyond my understanding. And that's where the journey of a Sikh starts, when they defeat themselves and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on, but Paramatma, you do. So please show me the way. Does that make sense? So in that oneness, that bhakti, there is this amazing Pandit, Brahman. He's sitting on the side of the Ganga in Patna Sahib. And as he's sitting there in meditation, he's experiencing that samadhi. You see, the philosophy with the Sakhi. I want you to really understand what we just talked about, to understand what he must be feeling, that oneness he must be in, how he must have closed all 9 of his gates to just focus on that experience of that Dasam Davar. And as he's in that Naam, he's in that Bani, he's in that Samadhi, he is experiencing God and Vaheguru. And in it, he is getting darshan of Bala Pritam, of Paramatma, and he's completely in bliss. As he's in this bliss, there's a king named Fateh Chand. Raja Fateh Chand comes and he puts some like masale in front of Shivdat Ji, and he matha takes to them. And Shivdat Ji goes, what are you doing here? What brings you here so early? Halit Amrit Velaya. It's the early hours of the day. What are you doing here? And he says, we're here to show our respects to you. We have come to love you. I haven't come as a king. I've actually come as a das. I've come as a beggar at your door. And he says, you're a king. Stop saying such humble things. You're not a beggar. And he says, no. He says, you don't understand. Pandit Shivdat Ji, you're a Pandit worthy of this worship. You're the most sacred Brahman. I'm a Kshatri. I'm a Khatri. And I've come as a das, a beggar, because I have no child. So before I continue with the Sakhi, I want you to understand something about, the Hindu faith at that time. It was believed that if you didn't have a son, that you would never get to heaven. That if you didn't have a son, then you wouldn't, like your jivan, you would go to hell. Tusi narka nu jaonge, right? So it's with that belief that they are coming and saying, please bless us with a son that can run this kingdom and save us from the jaws and gates of hell. So now you must also realize some of the cultural context behind why so much munda is always happening. Son is always happening in a lot of Indian households, right? It's rooted in that philosophy as well. One of the places it's rooted. And so he says, so please, I've heard that you've blessed so many families with sons. Please do me the favor and bless us with a son as well. Nothing would make me happier. And Shivdat Ji, Pandit Shivdat Ji says, Fateh Chand Ji, Shivdat says, I've heard other people also say that I've blessed them with sons, but that's not true. He says, it's not me. He goes, oh, but it's God that sits on your tongue and allows you to give that blessing. He goes, no, you're absolutely mistaken. He said, right now, Vaheguru has come into this human form. The Guru, that Jot, that supreme soul, has taken a form of a human, and he comes and he gives me darshan. He shows me visions. He shows it to me while I'm in meditation, and he shows it to me when he's right in front of me as well. And he says that I put him to the test when I first got his darshan. Sometimes I would want to see him in the form of Raam. He would then appear in the form of Raam. Sometimes I would pray to see him in the form of Krishna. He said, then he would come in the form of Krishna. He goes, then I would wish that he comes in the form of Buddha. He goes, then he would come in the form of Buddha. He goes, then I just realized that this Bala Pritam, this Mera Bala Pritam, Mera Pyara Bala Pritam, Api Nirankarya. I realized that this beautiful, beloved prince is God themselves, coming in these different forms. And he says that in my meditation, I've realized that my longing was for Bala Pritam, was for this Guru. It was not for anything else, not for idol worship. Not everything else is fake. Nothing else matters. All that matters is this Naam and my attachment and love to this Guru. When he says this, the Pandit's eyes tear up. His body starts to tremble. He starts to bow and he folds his hands and he just takes a long pause. And he's just saying, Baksh do, Maharaj, Baksh do, Kirpa karo. He's just begging. He's begging in front of Akal Purkh, please, just forgive me. Just keep me in your charan. Just whatever I've done to even lose a bit of this experience, don't allow me to forget it. Let me experience you atte pair. Let me experience you 24 hours. Fateh Chand then says, will you please take us to him? When you take us to him, then me and my wife, the queen, we can fall at his feet. Shivdat goes, this isn't how it works. You don't just get to go see him. Says the way to really meet the Guru, the way to really meet this Jot, this soul, is the way of love. You can sit inside of your house, have a longing in your heart that the Savior of the world will come and show you a glimpse. Remember him with love. Remember him from the core of your heart. Andar na bairag hona chahida hai Maharaj de prem vaste. On the inside, you should feel that prem towards the Guru. But be careful, because Bala Pritam, they will come to your house and they will bless you with everything you want. But you have to be careful that you don't just think that he's some dry, skinny kid. You have to understand that this is the master of the spiritual sphere in the unseen world. They said, you want a son? They won't just bless you a son. He can bless you with the Raj, the kingdom of this earth and the next, just by doing their bhakti, just by remembering them with complete love. And as I was reading this, I started thinking, man, this is us. These are instructions to us. We have so many of these desires, but we'll go to the Gurdwara, we'll matha take, which is fantastic. We should be doing. But what bhavna inside do we have? A lot of times people go one or the other. Either it's all bhavna, oh, I don't need to go to the Gurdwara, or all I need to do is go to the Gurdwara. But has it occurred maybe it's both? Maybe it's the love that we hold in our heart while we go to visit our Guru? Is it the love that we hold and meditate on without any desires that'll connect us? So they continue explaining them. They say they blossom like a lotus. And like a lotus flower, they sit on this mud untouched, praising everyone, binding everyone with their spells. He has this magical pull to them. When they talk, all you want to do is listen. When he laughs, your inside just opens up, and that's all you want. He is the sea of happiness. He is the embodiment of love, charm, delight, bliss. They're a spellbinder, vivacious, heart-pleasing. They elevate your mind with prem. When he smiles, you can feel the anand of 1,000 suns shining inside your heart, connecting you to the Guru. He's a fountain of anand, of ecstasy. Their glimpse alone can drag you, but you don't know how it's happening. It's just pulling you. You're like, I want more of this. Whatever this is, I want more. That's how you feel when you see Gobind Rai, when you see Mera Pyara Bala Pritam. You feel enamored. They're a sea of rapture, a lake of exuberance. Their inspiration, it feels like the spring season. Jithe sara kuch khar janda. All the flowers are blooming, all the trees are green, and all you're thinking inside is, this is all I want. You're more handsome than the moon, you're radiant. Your inner vision will open, and when it opens, then you will see all of this. Even now, Pyareo, when we look at Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we might see a book, but if we looked at Maharaj like this, we would see why they're Guru Granth Sahib, why they are the Guru, why they are the Sahib, the highest of the high, and why they are Akal Purkh Jyoti Jyot themselves, the Jyot of Maharaj themselves. You need the eyes. Like I said, the talk earlier, the Amrit is inside of everything. But have we been blessed to drink that Amrit and see it inside of everything? On listening to these words, this longing started to develop inside of both the husband and the wife. They felt this sensation of wondrousness, which I'm sure we're all feeling of, will I ever feel that? I want to feel that. That's incredible. Just hearing the compliments from someone that has experienced it, someone like Shivdat, we're going, Vah, wow, kya najare. What a beautiful sensation. Shivdat goes, please go. Everybody is wanting to come and do their bathing. I don't want anybody to question why you guys are here. Fateh Chandji says, that's fine. It appears that you've abandoned idol worship and all you're doing is focusing on Maharaj. With tears in his eyes, he says, Vaheguru is neither wood or stone or metal. The living God, God that gives life, the true God, has come to earth. Now, he lives in my heart and my mind. It's not some imaginary figure that my mind created. I had his darshan on the inside. I got to receive him on the inside. and I got to receive him on the outside. Saying this, tears began to just waver down his face as he's in the love of his Guru. The king and the queen, they leave. The king and queen go home and they take in these words. After they take in these words, they begin their bhakti. They begin focusing on that Naam, that Bani, trying again to understand and connect to Bala Pritam on a loving level, on a level of becoming one. As they are meditating, the king comes home and he says, have you met Bala Pritam yet? She says, no, I'm still trying. He goes, Shivdat is a Pandit. He goes, he has, and we do this a lot too. He says, he's been inside of Bhakti his whole life. He's been someone that was born and bred with this. He knows what it means to sit down and do Naam Simran, what it means to find that love. Us, we're regular. We're Kshatriya. We're warriors, kings, queens. We feast royally. We've indulged in all of the pleasures of life. How will we ever be able to connect to that God? How will we ever be able to find them? And to that, the queen says, all we have to do is understand that we have to fall in love with him. Nothing else matters. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of a bunch of other classes as well, that even if we don't have that Naam, that Bani, that Bhakti, that Maryada, all I have is Prem. And all I want to do is love my Guru. That's what matters. That's step one. Jin prem kiyo tinhi prabh payo. On that journey of love, you find Maryada and Bhakti and all of the things that matter as well. But that love is what matters. And that's what she says. That love is what we have to find. Then the king says, okay, that makes sense. But I think that in order to get to that level, we have to let go of desires. Asa mansa, the desires of our mind. He goes, the reason we're meditating isn't for love. The reason that we're meditating is so that we can get a son. He goes, we have to let go of that. She goes, you're absolutely right. So I'm over here, I'm sitting thinking, yeah, you're right. I was talking to someone in class here the other day, and she referred to it as the soda machine of God. You pop in a coin, which is your prayer, and you get the soda right out, and you head on out of the Gurdwara, right? Maharaj, please get me a puppy. Thank you, I'm out, right? So it's like I will pray if you give me this, right? That's the exchange. But what if we were doing that without actually wanting anything in return? Could we then see what that love is? So he says to her, he says, hey, listen, why don't we let go of this desire for a son and just love Bala Pritam for the sake of loving Bala Pritam? And she says, okay. She goes, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we can do that. But she goes, how will we, how are we gonna do that? He goes, yeah, you're right. He goes, what if we end up going to hell? Because we're not gonna have a son, because that's not what we want anymore. She goes, well, if Bala Pritam is so powerful and is so inside of everything and everyone and is just oneness, then connecting to that Bala Pritam that can give us this earth and all the heavens beyond, let him deal with the hell part. We're just going to connect ourselves to him. We're just going to connect ourselves to Vaheguru, to the oneness. Let Vaheguru deal with the hell part of it. He goes, yeah, you're right. And then he goes, but what about the Raj? Who's going to take care of the Raj? She goes, let's just put that in the same boat. If he can save us from hell, he'll handle the Raj, he'll handle the mansions, he'll handle everything that's around us. Let's just let go. And then they start going, my mind, oh, desire for a son, go away. Eh jehdi ਪੁੱਤ ਦੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮੰਗ ਆ ਤੂੰ ਪਰੇ ਹੋ ਜਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਦਿੱਤਾ. This desire that I have for a son, go away. All you're doing is constantly nagging in my ear, constantly pulling me down, constantly making me feel like I'm already in hell. Just go away. All I want to do is experience that love. All I want to do is experience that oneness. There is nothing else that I want to experience except for you. This desire for a son, go away. Both of them, they just start focusing on Bala Pritam in their mind, on that Vaheguru. They're doing that Naam. Both of them, they close their eyes and their inner vision is just like Shivdat on the banks of the Ganga. Shivdat, as they're meditating at home, Shivdat is on the riverbank of the Ganga, remember? He's sitting there in meditation, and what ends up happening is that the waters start to rise. all of the people that were doing idol worship and those type of things got up and ran away. And the banks kept going higher and higher and higher and higher. And Shivdat is still in their bhakti. They open their eyes and there's no one left except Bala Pritam standing right in front of them. And they say, look around, Shivdat Ji. Everyone has run away. As soon as the treacherous waves of this earth get too high, all abandon true religion. All abandon what dharam is. They run away to save themselves. No one has that trait any longer to stand in front of those waves. You are imbued in that Rab. You're imbued in that Vaheguru. And through that bhakti of Vaheguru, you have not moved. Shivdat Ji, it's too much for him to see Bala Pritam Ji. He feels like he's seeing two suns. The sun that's behind them and then Maharaj themselves. And he's just thinking, he just wants to fall at their feet, but he's not able to. He's just stunned. He's just looking at them. They teach this and they say, you have to continue teaching people what it really means to be holy, what it means to go do that Naam, what it means to connect to Paramatma, to brush away the noise. We all get into the noise. Over Maryada, over who's cool, who's not. We always fighting. Always. That's the noise. Push the noise away and focus on the prem. Focus on the naam, the seva. And yeah, we get taken away by noise, but that's why Guru Sahib has given us our Sangata. So Bala Pritam Ji is telling Pandit Shivdat Ji this. And as he says this, he finishes what he needs to say. Shivdat Ji matha takes. They, laughing, jump into the Ganga, swim. 8-9 of their friends show up. They all jump in and they start playing in the Ganga, splashing water at each other. And Shivdat Ji, Bhai Vir Singh Ji describes this beautiful pyara sareer of Bala Pritam, Gora, Chamkada, this super light skin, little, little chubbiness on their arms. Like you can see how sweet they are, the Roop of Akal Purakh, just playing, Maje de vich. Khel khelan ant ko phir ek. Just playing their games, and in the end, they are the one. They are just one. And they keep swimming away, and Shivdat stands at the side of the bank, just getting their darshan, just taking it all in with their hands folded until they turn the bank and they can no longer see them. At the same time, the Rani and the king are sitting inside of their house, eyes closed in that bhakti. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. At first, they're using their davars to say Vaheguru, to hear Vaheguru, to experience Vaheguru. They stop saying it because inside, that's all they're hearing and seeing. As they're going through that experience, inside, they get this vision of a child, a son, playing with a ball. And around them, a lot of kids playing. And they're kicking it around and slanging it across every gate. Every lock is clanking against another lock. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਏ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਉਹ ਪਤਲੀਆਂ ਗਲੀਆਂ ball ਮਾਰਨੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਗੇਟ 'ਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੱਜਣੀ ਫਿਰ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੇਟ 'ਚ ਵੱਜਣੀ. That like feeling of just like openness and playing and laughter. They're hearing that on the inside. Outside, a ball starts to hit the gate. They're not hearing it. They come inside. That laughter and that playing is now happening around them, but they don't think it's happening around them. They're in ecstasy on the inside. They're seeing this child inside of their meditation. They've closed their no davar and all they're focused on is that samadhi, that dasam davar, which is why we spent so much time on that concept. Understand how they must be disassociated from all that is around them and focused on the inside. Getting that darshan, that vision of this Bala Pritam Ji, with his large brown eyes and beautiful smile, goes and he sits down on the lap of the queen. And when he sits down in her lap, he says, Ma, Ma, and he starts calling her mother. And when she hears this Ma, she just goes into a deeper ecstasy. Tears start to flow down because she thought she would never hear those words. She still has no idea what's going on because she's in this halfway spot of samadhi where she's experiencing Akal Purakh, but she's also experiencing a child in her lap calling her mother. And he says it over and over, Ma, Ma. And she finally opens her eyes with tears in her eyes and she looks down and the king says, Queen, look, your lap is full. Teri god hari hogi. You've been given a son. And Bala Pritam Ji is sitting in her lap and he looks up at her and his eyes filled with the Amrit are so powerful that the queen is not able to actually, she wants to grab his feet. She understands this is Bala Pritam because she got the darshan inside not seconds ago before she then saw that same Bala Pritam right in front of her. She goes, this is the one I saw. This is the one I know is Bala Pritam. The one I know is Akal Purkh. And now somehow he's sitting right here in my laps. How is this possible? None of these thoughts are working. Her body isn't working. She's just falling in absolute love. And she's just smiling and looking down. And Maharaj is just looking up at her. In that sensation, time, lots of time goes. Fateh Chand could not move even a little. The king could not move. The queen could not move. They both wanted कि इस कलगीधर पिता दे जिन्हां ने खालसे दा जरनैल पिता खालसे, the one that builds the Khalsa, the father of the Khalsa is sitting right in front of them. The father of the entire world is calling them Ma with so much love and they're just stuck there. That prem is what we are all after. I wonder when Maharaj and how Maharaj, not if, when and how, they will bless us with that love that we sit in our house and we go, I want to see you, please come. I want to see you, give me your darshan. Darshan dije khol kabar. Just open these doors and give me darshan. There's a poet I told you guys about last week. Remember I told you he did the poem and he said, "Eh chadar maili sabban thoda." This sheet is way too dirty and I don't have enough soap to wash it. And when he recites this poem, and I'll do the whole one for you guys one day. And in the end, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says to him, what would you like? Tell me, what would you like? And he just cries and he goes, Minu darshan devo, Minu darshan devo. And he just falls straight to their feet. Just give me that darshan, Maharaj. That's the ardas benti that this king and queen, Fateh Chand, his household has been blessed with. And we will go into their conversation and what happens in the rest of their childhood next week. We're at our 50-minute mark now. And Sangat Ji, thank you so much. I don't want to stop because it gets even better and even more love-filled. But we're on this journey for the next year or so while we get through this book. So we will hold on to it until next week. So with that, forgive me if I said anything wrong. Please take away the lessons. Please take away that love. I will try to and beg Maharaj that I also receive that lesson somehow. And together, we'll all figure out a way on this path. Thank you, Sangat Ji, so much. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.